And there's my sign on with my trusty purple stylus. I guess I may grow up one day and get one of those fancy cameras with timers and the tripod stand and all of those stands. But today is not that day. So, anyway, hello, TikTokers. Welcome to the first official day of Life Lessons, Words of Wisdom, Listen and Learn. So, today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite things, which is relationships. This is relationships with your spouse, relationships with other family members, friendships, colleagues, just whoever you might have relationships with. And so if you saw the post from earlier, it said, don't have front drawer expectations of back drawer people. What do I mean by that? If you are a person that's been around any period of time, like I have, again, we're on the journey to 60. And, when you get a certain age, you start using all kind of catchphrases that your parents used to use. Well, I'm that age now. And so I use the phrase back in the day, we used to see a lot of file cabinets. And if you've ever seen one, they were the big, bulky file cabinets with the metal drawers and a little latch that you press to slide it open. And they were really sturdy and really durable. And the kind of things that if like you didn't move your hand out of the way too quick, like you close that file drawer, you might lose a finger. And so you had to be real quick, real careful. It was all the things like would be a parent's worst nightmare, sharp edges and all of that stuff that's like danger zone accident waiting to happen. But anyway, so when I think about relationships, I think about the fact that people fit into three different areas of our lives. We have people who are in the front of our file drawer, people who are in the middle of our file drawer, and then people who are in the back of the drawer. The people in the front are the people we're closest to. This might be your spouse, your children, your siblings, your parents, your best friends, all of the people that you consider to be in your inner circle. These are the people in the front of your file drawer. People in the middle of your file drawer, these are people that you get along with. It might be co-workers that you have some level of relationship with, but they're not your bestie, but you get along with them. You may see them out and about, acquaintances, we call some of these folks. So I'm cool with you, but you're not in the front of my file drawer, but I will let you have a spot in the middle. And then you have those people in the back of your file drawer. These are the people who you know them, they know you. It might be a neighbor down the street that you don't have a relationship with, but you're fine with them. This might be a coworker that works in another department. You know them if you see them, not a best friend, but you're fine with them. And so front of the file drawer, people I'm closest to, middle of the file drawer, I'm cool with, we get along all right. And the people at the back of the file drawer, I just know you. Might not remember your name depending on what day it is, you know what I'm saying? Might not remember your name. So what happens to us oftentimes is we have front drawer expectations of back drawer people. So I have certain things that I expect my best friends to live up to, my mom, my cousins, people like that who are in the front of my file drawer. I may have like a standard or again, expectation that I have for them. They live up to that. But the problem comes in for a lot of us when we have those same expectations, front drawer expectations of people who are in the back of the drawer, or even people who are in the middle. And what happens if we understand where we file people and where they fit into our lives, we can save ourselves a whole lot of frustration. Because what happens is if I have somebody that I think is in the front of my file drawer, but they don't think they're in the front of my file drawer, I have expectations for them that they don't live up to. And then I'm disappointed and I'm frustrated because they didn't live up to my front drawer expectations when in actuality, they're really in the back of the drawer. So understanding where you place people, but also understanding where people place themselves in your life. Because the opposite can also be true. People can have front drawer expectations of you, that you don't see yourself as being in the front of their drawer. You're in the back of their drawer. And I had an experience like that several years ago. A friend of mine came up and he was so excited. He said, "Oh, I met one of your closest friends." I said, "You did?" Because I don't have a lot of closest friends. And at the time, none of my closest friends lived in the city where I was living. And he said, "Oh, yes, I met her." And she went on and on how you all were so close and you're so tight and you're so this. And I said, "Well, what was her name?" And when he said the person's name, I had to really think about to pull up, like, who is this person? And I finally remembered, like, oh, yeah, I do know her, but I'm not one of her closest friends. And she's definitely not one of mine. But she had me in the front of her file drawer when in actuality, I had her in the back of mine. I'm not going to say her name in case she's watching. I wouldn't want to hurt her feelings. But anyway, it's not only important to understand where you place people, but it's important to understand where people place you, because people can oftentimes put their expectations on you that you're really not in a position or a category to have to or to want to live up to. So understanding where you fit into other people's lives, understanding where they fit into yours. So again, what I say, don't have front drawer expectations of back drawer people. Know where people fit in your life. That will save you a lot of frustration. It'll save you a lot of aggravation. It'll save you a whole lot of disappointment. Because if I understand where I fit in your drawer, you understand where you fit in my drawer, we won't have any misunderstanding. So apply that principle to your life. Don't have front drawer expectations of back drawer people. I promise you, it'll save you a whole lot of aggravation. So that's the listen and learn for today. Don't forget to leave me a comment if you have learned something from this or something else that you wanted to share with me. It might be a life lesson that we can pass on in the course of our 60 days. And don't forget to look for hashtag words of wisdom, hashtag life lessons, hashtag listen and learn. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Signing off with my purple stylist.